Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I have here a funny article from Russia Today. It's funny because it's seriously misleading. Okay, here is the title of the article, and I want you to answer this question after you read the title. American troops will not fight in Ukraine. Washington. Both the US and EU have ruled out the deployment of individual NATO members' forces against Russia. My question to you is, do you believe that? Me neither. I don't believe that at all, and I will tell you why I don't believe that at all. I've been watching this BS in Ukraine for its very beginning, which was, I think, before the Minsk agreements, 2014, 2015. So now I'm going to show you how the West and United States of America said at times, I'm going to just use Washington because Washington said that they will not provide troops. And I have another question after I knock these guys out here. The Americans said, we will definitely not send tanks. We will definitely not send long-range missile systems. We will definitely not send F-16s. We will definitely not send troops. All right, let me show you some articles that I just conktails here, put together a few here. All right, this is from December 22, 2022. Why the US declined to send Ukraine long-range missiles, tanks. And this is from France 24. When President Zelensky visited Washington on Wednesday, the US announced that it would finally be sending Patriot missiles to Ukraine, 300 days into the war. However, the Biden administration declined to give Ukraine ATACM long-range missiles due to worriness about escalation risks. Remember this word, please, escalation risk, and declined to send US tanks because of operational concerns. Yet, analysts warn against overstating the differences between Kiev and Washington. Okay, let's go to the next one. This comes from New York. What's this? Dismiss. New York Post. That's called World War III. Biden defends decision not to send jets to Ukraine. Oh, excellent. Now, hey, what's this? This is from the Wall Street Journal. This is June 29, 2023. U.S. considers ATACMS long-range missiles to bolster Ukraine's fight. What was this? Escalation? And it was this? All right. And then F-16s will eventually be sent to Ukraine. Former U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff Chair says. So when you go back to this, I don't believe shit. If you guys believe it, at your own risk. Now, this was the first question, if you believe it. Now, the second question. They said they will not send American troops will not fight in Ukraine. Now, is this considered American troops? I fight in the US military. I'm discharged today from my military, and in a week I show up in Poland, shipped over there, and I just put a badge of volunteer. And let's say there are about 20,000 of this kind of former military. And everything is former. They just got, out of US military, so there's not American troops. They are transported to Poland, let's say. In Poland, they are regrouped, put in volunteer, battalions, put a new badge here of, Ukraińska Volunteer Bala Kapacapa, and given a weapon and go in. Are those considered American troops? No. Okay, well, that's what they mean. American troops will not fight. Okay, the military will not fight. But those guys that I mentioned are okay to fight. Please. So the Americans said they will not send defense missile systems. They sent HIMARS, and then they jumped into the Patriot. They said they will not send tanks. Abrams are ready to be sent. They said they will not send F-16s. F-16s are going to go over there eventually. They said they were not going to send troops. I don't believe anything. Anything what this guy said, they eventually turned around and did it. And they did it in the name of, they didn't do it in the name of escalation. So why not? I mean, every time they did it, they said, before they said, we're going to escalate, we don't escalate. And they did it. And again, and again, and again. So all this thing here means zero to me. I hope it means zero to the Russians as well. Otherwise, they're going to be duped as they were in 2014 and 2015 and so on. So let's at least read the article so we don't remain without whatever these guys are saying. U.S. President Joe Biden has no intention of sending American troops to Ukraine. The same thing he said about tanks. State Department spokesman Matthew Miller told reporters on Thursday, however, while its forces may not be openly fighting Russians, an unknown number of U.S. military personnel are reported active in zone of hostilities. So little details change the whole thing. When someone says like this, let's say you have a significant other, a wife, a husband, and let's say I'm the husband. I say, I will never cheat on you. However, what does that mean? Or, but, so you should stop right there. No American troops will be there deployed, blah, blah, blah. However, there will be some, there are some, but you know, what the hell that means? I will never steal. But you know, if I feel like being hungry, I might steal. Then why do you say you will never steal? Alright, so anyway, let's go back to these weasels. And I'm quoting. The president has been very clear that U.S. troops will not be on the ground in Ukraine. How about in the cockpit? They're not on the ground. Miller said at a press briefing in Washington, hey, with or without this, I still don't believe them. Miller had been asked whether the U.S. supported former NATO Secretary General Andreas Fogh Rasmussen's suggestion earlier this month that individual NATO members, likely Poland and the Baltic states, could deploy troops to Ukraine without involving the entire bloc. Rasmussen said that such a scenario would be likely if NATO fails to agree on security guarantees for Ukraine at a summit next month in Lithuania. Miller's answer did not directly address the issue. That means, you know, however, of a potential Polish or Baltic mission to Ukraine. Meanwhile, the EU Polish and Baltic mission euphemisms right here. To do what? Pick up some flowers or what? Measure the speed, the wind speed or what? Meanwhile, the EU has rejected the idea of such a mission, and they can always change their mind. And I'm quoting, to send ground troops to Ukraine is to be a party in a war. No, sending weapons and ammunition to Ukraine is to be a party of the war. That's my understanding starts. To be at war with Russia. You are, by supplying my enemy, you are my enemy right there. Because you're not supplying me. That means you're not, equally friendly or objective. That means you're on that side. And nobody wants that. I'm pretty sure there are some that want that. Neither the EU nor NATO. No, they don't want that because they don't want to be punched in the face. They want to be punched, the Russians, in the face with Ukrainians' nation being killed. They are totally okay with that. But they don't want to be able to allow the Russians to kick them in the face. And they're okay with them, you can kill these guys, but not these guys. Anyway, despite Miller's insistence that the U.S. will stay at arm's length from the Ukraine's conflict, U.S. forces are already operating in the country. The Pentagon acknowledged in November that a small number, relative to what? Let's say you are 240 million people. A small number would be, would you consider 5 million a small number compared with 340 million? I would consider it a small number. What about 100,000 people? Oh, that's even a minuscule number. So you see, it's relative to what do you mean small number in relation to what? American troops were guarding the U.S. embassy in Kiev and inspecting weapons. It's just inspecting deliveries away from the front lines. In April, leaked Pentagon documents suggested that 14 U.S. Special Forces personnel were deployed in Ukraine as of mid-March, along with 50 from the UK. Well, you can multiply that by, I would say, my gut feeling says at least 5. I don't want to say 10, but 5 for the UK, and for the Americans, I would say at least 10. Aside from active duty troops, there are an unknown number of US citizens fighting alongside Kiev's forces. Multiple Americans have been captured by Russian soldiers, and several hundred were listed as fighting in Ukraine by Russia last summer. The Russian Defense Ministry said on Thursday that as many as 20 foreign mercenaries, let me change this, maybe that's going to be better, and military advisors were killed in a missile strike on a temporary base on the Ukrainian armed forces in the Donbas city of Kramatorsk on Tuesday. Unverified images and videos circulating on social media after the strike purportedly showed English-speaking military personnel in American uniforms recovering the dead and wounded from the base. Moscow already considers the US and NATO to be involved in the conflict by proxy, with Russian President Putin accusing the West last week of waging war against Russia to the last Ukrainian. Well, we know that one. It's too late now. Are you doing anything about it? No. So, zip it. We know it. So, yeah, you want everybody else to know it? Okay, then keep talking. Are you going to do anything? Well, that's your deed. So, my friends, don't trust whatever these guys say. And remember, they always can say, things changed. So, according to the new situation over there, we reassessed the danger and all this, and we had to change our direction in that one. So, the decision was reversed. And you can, if you want. That's one. Or another one is like, oh, we just change our mind. Or say, well, no, they're not American troops, they're volunteers. Well, that's 20,000 volunteers from this, that, and that. It's okay. Volunteers, they're not in U.S. uniform. They're just volunteers. I mean, you can find many ways to do it. And we want to find out when we're going to be allowed to find out all these things. Or they will be allowed to tell us. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know about it. They know, they have the information, but they keep it zipped. As many other pieces of information that are kept away from us, and find out that they knew about it, I don't know, 9 months ago. And they do it now because right now it's politically, advantageous for someone. Makes me vomit. But hey, we gotta work with this BS. Who's gonna do it? Them? No, I'm not gonna let them do that. They do it worse as they do it right now. No, they do it badly. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.